and I was one of those few lucky musicians, I think, in India who got into Bollywood without any struggle. It was so easy for me.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, you were invited to
I was invited to come.
come.
Yeah.
Right.
So from then on, my stint with Bollywood music, film music started. I learned a lot actually about Indian music. Actually, that was my first sort of, because I had never bothered about Indian music
Right.
before that. Yeah, but this was the time I heard a lot of Indian music and classically based Indian music also, because in that orchestra there were people like Hari Prasad Chaurasia. Yeah, sitting over there in the flute section. Yeah,
Wow.
Shiv Kumar Sharma. All these people. Yeah, because it was a daily wage, no?
Okay.
So they would sit there whole day. And RD Burman was that kind of a guy who wanted good musicians to be in his orchestra, to be around him. Like it was the kind of who would get inspired by that. So he wanted good musicians to be there, whether they had a part or not in the song didn't matter.
Okay.
Hari Prasad would, I used to watch him. He used to practice like without sound. To practice for hours like that, practicing all the time, sitting and practicing all the time. And we had 3, 4 keyboardists, Kersi Lord and Charanjit Singh and all that, and I was one of them. And but whenever there was a piano solo required, there was a pianist over there actually,
Okay.
Mike Machado, I think. Yeah, Mike Machado, a nice fellow, passed away. And but whenever there was a piano solo required, Pancham RD used to call me to play. I played. So from that 79 onwards, all the piano that you hear, solos and stuff like that in the songs, all are played by me. Yeah, that time I was given that opportunity. So I learned. I heard these big orchestrations, which was very inspiring for me actually, because I was never in that environment. I was just in this small band, 6-piece band, and playing my stuff. So it was an eye opener for me. It expanded my sense of music, and so I quite enjoyed it. And for that time, and then what was more interesting, and of course, bringing happiness to the family and wife and all that, was the money that was earning. And I say it now, even I've always said it. I discovered money when I came to Bombay.
Okay.
Before that, I didn't care about money, and I was living hand to mouth. But there was no savings in the bank. There was no bank account at all. There was no car. There was no house. Staying in a rented place. Of course, Blue Fox gave me an apartment to stay in. So, I mean, living hand to mouth. There was nothing, no savings, nothing. But we were so happy because we were playing that music every night, you know?
That kept you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That was so inspiring for me. So I very fondly remember those days. And that changed when I came to Bombay.
In Bombay, we have always faced accommodation issues, I mean, for decades. So even when you came in, did you find it easy to find a place for yourself, or did RD Burman help you? Or...
No, it was very easy to get a
it
rented
was?
place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I had the money.
Right.
So I could. So that's the thing that kept my family very, very happy. And wife, as I said, oh God, wow, this is great. Like, hey, what I was earning in a month in Calcutta, I was earning in a day over here.
Wow.
That kind of a change. Yeah. And RD Burman were at the peak of his popularity.
And he was good paymaster also in terms of...
No problem.
Okay.
Daily wage, daily, everybody was paid every day. He was at the height of his popularity and he was working every day. doing recordings every day.
Mm.
So we were fine, actually. Yeah, it was great.
Did other musicians accept you easily, thinking that he's come from Calcutta? How come he's a new guy and he doesn't know
No,
anything of Bollywood? And
I
did
don't
that?
know, but I never heard any of those kind of comments from anybody.
Okay,
Got friendly with everybody,
people are
and there were a
open.
lot of jazz musicians playing
Already.
in the orchestra. And when I came in, they were very happy. They sort of welcomed me, and there was like Franco Vaz and who's that? Peter Dias. Peter Dias, James Dunn, Peter Dias. On bass.
Mhm.
They were all jazz musicians actually. And so during the lunch break, I would sit on the piano and Franco on drums, him on bass, and we had a session
Okay,
over there, jazz session.
right.
And a lot of times RD Burman used to come and just listen to us.
Okay.
Casey Lord also used to play drums. So we used to have those sessions. It was nice, great fun. So I got friendly with, all the musicians, really. Yeah, they accepted me, thank goodness. Yeah, it was nice. And so that continued for a while. But what I was missing was my jazz playing, actually. That what I used to do in Blue Fox in Calcutta. So luckily, an offer came from one of the hotels. They were looking for a band, and so I accepted that, and I brought in brass, some of my guys from Calcutta,
Okay.
and I formed my band in this Sea Rock Hotel
Okay.
at that time.
Okay.
Sea Rock Hotel. The room was called Captain's Table, I think. Yeah. And so my day was like, in the morning, go for RD Burman's recording. In the night, change into a suit, go to the nightclub.
Okay.
And next morning, same thing. And I had this electric piano, which I used to cart around.
Oh, you had to? Wow.
From RD Burman liked the sound also. He said, you must play that Rhodes piano of yours.
Okay.
Bring it for my recordings. So I used to take it there, bring it back, take to the hotel, in the morning again back to, it was tough. So that's why I tell my boys, I paid my dues. And we were staying in a place where there was no lift, third floor. In the night, I used to carry that piano, two of them, one by one, up to the house.
Okay. This is a daily thing.
Daily thing. So, paid my dues, really, yeah. So, this is a band, so this band thing was happening, and the RD Burman was happening, and then one fine day somebody came and said, I want you to write for an ad film. It's a short 30-second film, yeah, and I wanted kind of a jazzy kind of a, I know you're a jazz man. He knew me from Calcutta, a guy, Dharmesh, I think his name was, he also passed away, I think. And so I said, I'll give it a try. So there in that studio only, where I used to record with RD Burman, seeing the film on a big screen, I recorded my first ad film there only.
Okay.
After we finished RD Burman's recording, we stayed back, and these guys came and they projected their film on the screen. And that's my first encounter with ad films, and where every second counted. It had to be precise, match the film, like matching the film to music was something I learned from that time. Yeah, very interesting and challenging, and quite enjoyed it actually. And slowly, sort of, that went off quite successfully. They liked the stuff that I did.
What film was this, if you remember? The first
ad film. Yeah. Four Square Cigarettes.
Okay.
And the singer was Sharon Pravakar.
Uh-huh.
She sang the jingle, and I,
Do you
I didn't
remember
have
the
a drum
tune?
machine at that time, so I had told Franco to stay back and play drums.
Okay.
He also had another experience of matching like his drum beats to the film and all that. Quite an experience actually, yeah. But we managed, somehow we managed. Uh, After a while, of course, when we got into drum machines and all that, then it was quite easy to match timings and all that, yeah.
Do you
But,
remember the tune? Or
oh God,
no?
no. No.
Okay.
I wish I could, no, I don't.
Okay.
God, I don't.
Okay. So yeah, that's how you got exposed to the ad.
To the ad world,
Yeah.
and slowly, uh, got some more offers
Okay.
came in, and they must have heard the new guy in town, like who
Right.
does
The
ads
word
and all
spread.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's more snowballed to such an extent
Mm-hmm.
that I was doing many ads almost daily in the nights
Oh, okay.
after the recording. But it got to a point where I had to sort of take a decision whether to do ads or to do films. And money wise, ads was more lucrative
Oh,
than
okay.
film. Yeah, because I was the music director.
Correct.
Yeah, so it was good. So, and it sort of worked out like that because RD Burman's popularity also was waning a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and he had less films to do and stuff like that. So I had more time to do ads, stuff like that. And slowly, I stopped doing films.
Okay.
Yeah,
You never worked with any other music
I
director?
did.
Okay.
Uh, Once RD Burman had less work and all that,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Bapi Lairi offered me,
Okay.
and I did a lot of work with him actually, with Bapi Lairi. And then Lakshmikant Pyarelal. I worked with him quite a lot.
And the
Yeah.
Sea Rock thing continued, or that also?
That was continuing.
Oh, that was still there.
Oof. Yeah. It's quite hectic at times. My family would hardly see me. Yeah. That's why the time Gino was born, never spent much time with Gino in the early days. Really. I didn't have time. Busy from morning till night. Yeah. I used to practically live in the studios. Yeah. And all these guys worked with me at that time. Ehsan, Leslie, Ranjit, all these people, Carl Peters also hang around with me in the studio only.
How did they get in touch with you? Because like, if today there's
But I've inquired about good musicians.
Okay.
Yeah, that I needed a nice bass player and all that.
So the word
Carl
spreads
came in,
and-
word spread, drummer and programmer. Leslie came in, and guitar player Ehsan came in. Ehsan used to come and sit outside, waiting for me to finish the jingle and talk to him and just give him an opportunity to play.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you selected these young talents at that time to work with you, was there certain qualities that you saw in them and then decided, yeah, he's good?
Yeah, absolutely.
What,
Yeah.
what was those?
Yeah.
Because even today, the younger musicians, when they approach today's music directors,
Yeah.
what are those qualities that you saw in these boys at that time, which you think are relevant today?
So, one thing, there is skill at the instrument. Yeah, definitely. Their professionalism. Yeah, that's very important because when we did an ad and those guys paid big money for that, everything has to be absolutely on a pro level. Yeah. So those qualities I wanted from the guys also. Yeah. That is sort of, they came up to that level. And expertise on their instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys showed all that, and we worked with them for a long time actually. Yeah.
True.
I discovered other talent also. Yeah.
All of us in our personal lives and work life go through a lot of ups and downs. I'm sure you faced also in at many times. Like you had many turning points. There are many points where you feel, what am I doing? Why am I doing? Kind of a thing. So how did you keep yourself motivated? Because at times you might not have liked the music that you were kind of playing or working on, but then how do you kind of tell yourself, no, I must go on, I should not give up? How did you keep yourself?
So I developed the ability to sort of disconnect.
Okay.
All these projects that I did came to me, I treated them as projects. Yeah. An ad film you do today, and you have to sort of erase it out of your mind because you have to go to the next project. So I learned that ability to erase everything that I did and get on to the next project and think fresh and give the best I can for that project
Okay.
without repeating what I've done for the other project.
Right.
Yeah. So that is a very important factor in this business, really. Yeah, to be able to do that.
And even disconnect from problems at home and this and that, and just focus in the studio is what you usually
Yeah. Life was that only.
Right.
And on the home front, there was no problem. There was no problem at all. My birthdays, I used to celebrate in the studio.
Oops.
They used to bring the cake to the studio.
Oh, okay.
Wife.
Right.
There's no time. I was working day in and day out. My popularity actually was on account of me being a different kind of musician
Okay.
from the other musicians that were doing jingles at that time.
In what way?
Because of my jazz upbringing.
Okay.
So, because of that, I had a different edge to my compositions and to my arrangements and all that. The jazz edge was the thing actually
Okay.
that separated me from the crowd. Yeah. Because I put a lot of that into my ads.
Right.
Yeah. Whenever I would do that, yes.
You would have, I mean, composed jingles for, I mean, ad films, worked on hundreds and thousands of them.
Thousands.
Thousands.
Over 8,000, I believe.
Okay. Any favorites? Anything that you remember?
Oh, God.
Because today's generation might not have seen television in 80s. So something that you feel, that you distinctly remember and are happy about it.
Yeah, I know. God. There were so many. But I think that
Which are still being played and redone.
most of my the signatures that I've created, a lot of them I still hear them.
Yes.
Yeah, Britannia
Yeah.
and Parle G and Fruity and the Cadbury jingle that became very popular, and I mean I won a lot of awards for that. My singers won. Shankar Mahadevan sang the tune. Yeah, and
The one in which the girl runs into the
correct. Yeah, that
stadium.
became the jingle of the year.
Yeah.
Yes, and
So when you worked on jingles, when you saw the ad film first, were you given a brief by the director, or did he give you a free hand?
that's the way I used to work. Yeah, show me the film. Okay, send the film. Okay, now give me a brief and what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And once they did that, I would tell them, now go out for a smoke. And I'm just going to work on this.
Okay.
And I'll call you in.
Okay. They didn't sit on your head and.
No.
Okay.
And they would come and I would play them. And 9 times out of 10, they would approve. But there was always that, no, there was I remember one of the directors, used to do all his jingles, Prahlad Kakkar. He's a crazy guy. But a great film director, great. He said, he would confess, he said, I don't know anything about music. I don't know what music works with this. But when I see it, when I hear it, and I see my film, I'll know whether it's working or not. I don't anything about music, what style and all that, I don't know. But if you play it with me along with my film, I'll know if it works and all that. So he would come to the recording studio, and most of the time we'd be sleeping while I was working. And then he would wake up and say, Louis, have you got it? Play me, let me hear. And I would play it. I don't like it. Try try something else.
Okay.
Oh God, he's quite a guy. Yeah, but I did a lot of work for him till he came to a stage that he sort of accepted my work so much that he wouldn't even come for the recordings.
Okay.
He would just send the film and told his guys, you just give it to Louis, let him write, let him record, and you bring it back.
Okay.
So he had that kind of confidence in me.
So you should knock out a jingle in how much time? I mean,
Those days I used to,
spend time in them?
yeah, about 2-3 hours. I used to do 3-4 jingles a day. I mean, it was like a God,
Like a factory.
doctor's clinic, a factory. Client is waiting outside for the other client to go, and they would come in. Like it was that kind of a thing. Yeah,
And you were able to switch off, switch on to different.
yeah. I learned a lot about writing stuff. Yeah, to match visuals, and to write precise stuff that goes into seconds and all that. So about 15 years I did that, and then over 8,000 jingles and all that. And then I slowed down because I still remember they gave me the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Okay.
I still remember. Strangely, after this award is quite a strange award actually. Once you get it, your sort of career goes downhill a little bit. Yeah, like they're saying that okay, now we are giving you this award of lifetime achievement. You've done great work throughout your life. Now slow down and give others a chance. Now stop.
It's like
You've
flag
done
the
enough. Yeah. So
Like, thank you very much. And
thank you very much. Yeah. And I wanted to do more jazz. At that time, yeah, I was even touring. I did
you
some
were
tours. Yeah, in the 80s, I did the European tour with Sangam Band.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 months. 2 months touring, over 50 concerts. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, all that happened during that time only. Yeah, and the jazz yatras used to happen almost every year. Every 2 years, I used to play at the jazz yatras. Yeah. Then I formed my Silk band with Shankar Mahadeva and Sivamani and all that. And we did so many tours with that band. Yeah. So all that was happening while the jingle scene was happening, and that started sort of slowing down, and film work I was hardly doing, and then I got a couple of films to do on my own also.
Okay.
Yeah.
As
As a music director.
Okay. Songs
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, but it was not really commercial films though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did a lot of background music for a lot of films, yeah.
Okay.
But songs, no.
Okay.
And did a lot of art films, yeah, arty films. And but my main passion of writing jazz and playing jazz, that was there uppermost in my mind always. Always. And then when everything else started slowing down and all the commercial work
Yeah.
was lessened, I put my efforts into recording albums. Yeah, yeah. So that's why now we have so many albums. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so many are in the pipeline. We are always recording now, and getting inspired by my son Gino, who's pushing me and said, "Dad, record all your stuff." Yeah, and this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
So I get very motivated by Gino. And that's what I'm doing now, and bringing out all the compositions that I have as recordings, as albums. Yeah, leave behind something for the next generation.
Speaking of compositions, what do you find to be the most difficult part in the composition, and why? When you're thinking of a song or a track, how do you kind of start building it, and what is that part which you feel is the toughest to crack? And once it's done, you know that now I'm on.
So that's what we call is the doodling.
Okay.
I doodle on the piano. So that means without thinking anything like specific, I just play piano and then try out different harmonic progressions and lines and all that. And when I'm doing all that, suddenly a couple of lines hit me like,
Okay.
and I stop and I repeat those lines, and that becomes my starting point for the composition. Yeah,
No lyrics in mind.
no lyrics, man. Yeah. When I have lyrics specific, that's different. That's the projects. Yeah, when lyrics come in,
Correct.
but these are not connected to the lyrics at all. Yeah, it's just tunes that I like to write. Some are up tempo tunes, some are slow tunes, and so by doodling and finding a couple of motifs that suddenly uh, hit a note in my head, a light sort of
Yeah, yeah.
burns,
One.
yeah, and then I take that as a sign, and then I develop that into a full composition.
Okay.
It's always like that.
Okay.
It's always been like that. Yeah.
Sometimes you may not even get it.
Sometimes not even get it. Correct. Absolutely correct. Yeah. Like I said, when I have to do a project or and to write something specific, uh, I always say that no, there's no time to wait for the muse to descend on you. I just grab the muse and drag him down and then create something, you know? Yeah.
You've been labeled as the godfather of jazz in India. We have like in food, like we just spoke of food, Indian Chinese, the
Oh.
the Indian flavors given to Chinese preparations. Do we have something like Indian jazz also? Is
So
there?
my fusion music is that only.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, because the starting point is the rag. So I take a rag, but then I'm not a trained classical musician. So I don't follow the rules and nuances and traditions connected with that rag.
okay,
I don't follow that because I don't know it. I'm just taking that rag as a scale. But being an Indian rag, it has that sound,
yeah,
Indian sound, which I like. And from that, I create my melodies. So that I guess you can call that Indian jazz, really. Yeah. And from that, I build my harmonies also from the same notes. Yeah. And because jazz music is so chromatic. It's chromatic. It's not linear and modal.
it's improvisation also.
Improvisation, absolutely. But the composition factor is that a rag is a modal scale. So those notes cannot be changed. Yeah. You're doing Bhairavi, you have
Yeah.
to stay with those notes. Doing
Right.
a Todi, you have to stay with those notes. If you change it, then, it's not allowed. And it'll sound different also, yeah.
Have you
It's,
broken that
it's,
mold
it's,
in your compositions? Do you break that mold or do you change the rules?
so in the arrangement, in the composition, no, I don't change it, yeah. So all my fusion compositions, now if it's a Todi, then the composition is in Todi only,
Okay,
with the notes of the Todi.
okay,
But during the arrangement of the whole song, I will create a section where I will digress, go into jazz harmonies.
right,
And I've always followed this because we are jazz musicians and we think chromatic.
yeah,
So sometimes we don't like to stay too much with the mode, that same mode right through the piece. It's very limiting and restricting for us as jazz musicians.
okay,
So, and who concurred with me and felt the same way was John McLaughlin. He's saying his tunes also, it follows the mode. The tune is absolutely following the rag,
yeah,
but he will create a section, a bridge section, and he calls it the lotus chords, where he goes into jazz harmonies. He will digress into jazz harmonies and then smoothly come back to the original. I also like to do that very much.
okay,
So we are both on the same wavelength on that, really.
right,
Yeah. Because as jazz musicians, otherwise, it's very difficult for us just to stay in that because very limiting actually. How much can you do with 7 notes? Just 7 notes and you cannot touch any other note, that's very limiting for us. because we like to play chromatic and dissonances and extended chords and things like that. We love all that, and jazz is full of all that. Yeah, harmonic extensions and all that. So we have to create sections then, and then come back to the yeah. So my theory and that practice also is that when I'm playing with Indian musicians, first rule, these guys have to know what they're doing. They have to be absolutely competent classical musicians first. And then, secondly, they have to have a very open mind to music. So they must not say, oh God, he touched the wrong note. Like, I mean, that kind of feeling must not come onto them. They have to accept this new section where we take away from the original modes and do something else and then come back. So, what I want them to do is always, they are classical musicians, so they stay with the classical idiom. Yeah. I don't want them to sing jazz.
Okay.
Yeah. So when Shankar sings with us, his solos are all based on that rag. He doesn't digress from there. When I play, I will play something else in a jazz manner, and then we'll create. So my tunes are mostly, I play an introduction, which is based on the mode, the rag. Then the main melody is also based on the rag. The classical improvisation is based on the rag. But my section, bridge section, goes to a Western harmonic progression, and then we come back to another point sometimes where we create riffs based on the rag, where both of us can play the same thing together. Things like that.
Okay.
So that's the kind of a pattern I create, yeah,
Okay.
in my all my fusion compositions. Yeah.
So we can call this Indian jazz, so to speak.
Yeah, so to speak. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess you can. Yeah.
You are 74 years old,
Yeah.
and you still are showing so much energy and enthusiasm in organizing International Jazz Day at Blue Frog for the last 2 years. How, I mean, people of my age or generation who are working in corporates want to retire at 35, you know. So, and you've been kind of playing music for the last 40, 50
know.
years, maybe more. And what is it that,
It's
that
just
keeps you?
it's the power of music actually. Yeah, it's the power of music actually. Really, it's that only. Yeah.
Maybe you found the right
And
connect to the purpose of life for yourself.
absolutely. Yeah, you said it. Yeah, actually, it's that only. Yeah. And then without it, without music, sort of, I don't exist actually. It's not possible actually. Yeah, that what it keeps me going. And then musicians don't retire actually. Yeah, they just go on and on till their health permits actually. Yeah. Well, Oscar Peterson, even when his left hand got paralyzed, he gave a concert with his right hand only on piano. I mean, that's
That's the kind of
that's the kind.
passion.
Roy Haynes, in his 90s right now, still playing. So it's I don't know, it's some kind of inspiration and power that you get from music that just keeps you going. Really, really thankful for that. I mean, really thankful to God for that. Yeah.
It's also, like you rightly said, the vibes that you got in the studio or with other musicians also helped. Like RD Burman wanted good vibes in the studio, and that's what kept him also kind of motivated. Today's times, we have a lot of young keyboardists. I won't say they're pure piano players, but they're keyboardists who are exposed to computers, who are exposed to software, and doing things much easier and maybe on their own, not as a team.
Yeah.
What would you advise such
I know.
young musicians to do so that they also have a long-lasting career? And
First thing I would say is master computers. Yeah. But don't be a slave to it. Yeah. Use it as a tool. Yeah, always use computers as a tool, but make the music. The musician must make the music, not the computer. Absolutely. Computer is there to expose you to newer dimensions of sound, and yeah, that helps you. I mean, you have with computers and all these keyboards of today, you have an orchestra at your fingertips actually, and alone you can create orchestral works. Yeah, which is a great thing actually. But once you let the computer do the composing, then it's not a good thing actually. Yeah. So don't be a slave to computer. You are the master. Use the computer to your advantage. Really, absolutely. Yeah.
In terms of their playing, what is it that what techniques should they learn or
That's why I believe in really acoustic instruments.
okay.
That's where it's at actually. Yeah. You master your technique on acoustic instruments. Yeah. Yeah.
And practice.
Practice is, I mean, in one word, it's practice. Yeah. And don't be sort of motivated. Don't equate music with money.
Okay.
Yeah. Once you start equating art with money, revenue, and all that, I think the essence of art will just really fall apart. Definitely, definitely. In time, it will just fall apart. Yeah. And I see a lot of that happening today with youngsters, where it's very easy to make music with computers now. With today's technology, I mean, it's unbelievable what the end result is. I mean, you can't believe what the end result is. I mean, youngsters are making such fantastic music. But the thing is, they're not making it, the computer is making it. They're only putting it together.
Correct.
They're so clever and, skillful in doing that. But that's not the real thing. Yeah. The reality is missing over there.
Is it why you think the songs of today are very short lived and like instant
Attention
coffee?
span is short lived, songs are short lived, and it's like, what is it? Instant coffee, fast food.
Right.
Yeah, all that has seeped into the culture really. Attention span has dropped. Yeah, nobody wants to listen to a song that will go on for 15 minutes. They don't have the time for that. Yeah, yeah, they cannot concentrate that much. Hardly anybody listens to music like with their eyes closed, with full concentration on everything that's happening in the music.
In spite of having the best of headphones today and best of phones
Yeah.
and whatnot.
I know. So, acoustic instruments is the key actually. Yeah. Keyboardists must learn to play piano first. Yeah. And drummers must play drums. Yeah, acoustic drums. Yeah, definitely. They can fool around with electronics, but that's the real thing. Yeah. It's always been like that. Yeah. The great masters, nobody played computers. Yeah. Yeah. Really.
You briefly just touched upon right now by saying instant coffee, today's music kind of a thing. But you as an independent musician, nothing to do with film line, you were doing pretty okay in Nepal, Calcutta in your times. So you were not playing for films as such. Today's times, Bollywood has become Hindi film music has become so big and has penetrated through different forms and mediums.
Absolutely.
So today's independent musician somehow feels that I have to play for Bollywood to survive. I mean,
know.
you
They
did it with invitation. I mean, somebody invited you. Today it's like I have to be a part of this to survive. In terms of the
It's
music.
frightening actually. It's
For
a
today's
nightmare actually. Yeah.
independent musicians, what do you think what needs to be done to change the scene, to improve things to what they were in your younger days when music was thriving, different forms of music were thriving?
Trouble is everything is so revenue driven today. Everybody wants to make money. Yeah, thereby for independent musicians, the only recourse is for daily earning and to make some money is to get into Bollywood music, and where the work is regular and the payment is regular, and otherwise independent music scene as it is, the CD music business has come down.
Yeah.
Outlets,
Not
there are
really.
hardly any outlets.
Restaurants not having
Restaurants
bands.
don't have bands. Either they have a DJ
Yeah.
who's just playing recorded music, and what else is happening? Radio, not much is happening in radio also. They're playing mostly Bollywood music, and it's mass driven, mass oriented. And what is it? CD music business has come down, with no sales are happening.
Yeah. No, in your case also, in your journey, you also found Bollywood as a good support for daily income. But in the evenings, you had the freedom of going to a Sea Rock and playing, and then
There were so many outlets at that
outlets at
time.
times. Now there's
There is
nothing.
no more. There's no more that. Yeah.
So for today, it's so difficult for somebody to say
It's-
that I
it's-
want to follow music as a full-time career. He has to.
It's tough. It's
Or
tough.
she has
It's
to
really
do.
tough.
But
But
it's good that you, as a senior, are curating these jazz days. For even the audiences to come and listen to some different forms of music. You feel the industry musicians, the ones who are at the top with the money, I'm talking about the Bollywood guys, can set a different path for the youngsters to follow, or for listeners to get exposed to different forms of music instead of what is happening today. Would you think there's any possibility of the
that
musicians changing
happening.
the scene?
Yeah.
Like you doing it at your end.
Yeah. I think it has to be self-driven, really. Yeah. And the youngsters actually should take a stand. People like my son and Sheldon and all these people
Hmm.
are thinking differently, which is a good thing. And when you have more youngsters like these who are thinking different and who are not totally motivated by and inspired by the music that comes out of Bollywood, they want to do something more different and something more artistic, more long lasting. So if we have more of these youngsters doing this, then the other youngsters will get inspired. Me at my age, I get inspired by these youngsters. Yeah. And I want to work with them all the time. Really, yeah. They drive me actually. So I think that's the key. These boys should continue what they're doing, listening to different music, and uh, bringing back the glory of other genres of music that used to happen, and that is currently happening abroad. There's a whole sense of balance of musical genres abroad, which is so nice. Over here, it's not there. Yeah, Bollywood is dominating, and that's hybrid music, it's commercial music, it's fast food music, sensational music that sort of titillates and, yeah, the masses, and not long lasting. And so I'm hoping that the key is the youngsters actually. They must change. They don't change, it's very difficult, really. And I'm not losing hope actually. Yeah, I'm quite optimistic, and I can see some of these youngsters are doing things differently. So that's very good actually. Yeah, and I'm hoping more will start doing that, and they get to inspire others also, and the scene will change. into a kind of a balanced format
Yeah.
where all genres are respected and good music is respected, serious music is listened to. And yeah, I'm hoping for that scenario to happen.
Fantastic. Ranjit, thank you very much for spending so
It's
much time
lovely
with us.
talking to you, Aditya.
Yeah,
Really.
and thank you for your music.
Thank you.